trick is in what one emphasizes. We either make ourselves miserable or we make ourselves happy. The amount of work is the same. The basic difference between an ordinary man and a warrior is that a warrior takes everything as a challenge, while an ordinary man takes everything as a blessing or a curse. Our normal expectations about reality are created by a social consensus. We are taught how to see and understand the world. The trick of socialization is to convince us that the descriptions we agree upon define the limits of the real world. What we call reality is only one way of seeing the world, a way that is supported by social consensus. In the universe, there is an immeasurable, indescribable force which shamans call intent, and absolutely everything that exists in the entire cosmos is attached to intent by a connecting link. What is a truthful life? A life lived with deliberateness, a good, strong life. The aim is to balance the terror of being alive with the wonder of being alive. We talk to ourselves incessantly about our world. In fact, we maintain our world with our internal talk. As long as a man feels that he is the most important thing in the world, he cannot really appreciate the world around him. When one has nothing to lose, one becomes courageous. We are timid only when there is something we can still cling to. Do you know at this very moment you are surrounded by eternity? And do you know that you can use that eternity if you so desire? We hardly ever realize that we can cut anything out of our lives any time in the blink of an eye. Things don't change, only the way you look at them. Intent is not a thought or an object or a wish. Intent is what can make a man succeed when his thoughts tell him he is defeated. It operates in spite of the warrior's indulgence. Intent is what makes him invulnerable. Intent is what sends a shaman through a wall, through space, to infinity. Self-importance is a man's greatest enemy. Feeling important makes one heavy, clumsy, and vain. To be a warrior, one needs to be light and fluid. The secret is not in what you do to yourself, but rather in what you don't do. I'm never angry at anybody. No human being can do anything important enough for that. You get angry at people when you feel that their acts are important. I don't feel that way any longer. Any path is only a path, and there is no affront to oneself or to others in dropping it if that is what your heart tells you. The dying sun will glow on you without burning, as it has done today. The wind will be soft and mellow, and your hilltop will tremble. As you reach the end of your dance, you will look at the sun, for you will never see it again in waking or in dreaming, and then your death will point to the south, to the vastness. The world is incomprehensible. We won't ever understand it. We won't ever unravel its secrets. Thus, we must treat the world as it is, a sheer mystery. You say you need help. Help for what? You have everything needed for the extravagant journey that is your life. When a warrior learns to stop the internal dialogue, everything becomes possible. The most far-fetched schemes become attainable. An average man is too concerned with liking people or with being liked himself. A warrior likes, that's all. He likes whatever or whomever he wants, for the hell of it. Tonight in your dreams, you must look at your hands. Think about it. What weakens us is feeling offended by the deeds and misdeeds of our fellow man. Our self-importance requires that we spend most of our lives offended by someone. Modern man has left the realm of the unknown and the mysterious and has settled down in the realm of the functional. He's turned his back to the world of the foreboding and the exalting and has welcomed the world of boredom. The sorcerer's description of the world is perceivable, but our insistence on holding on to our standard version of reality renders us almost deaf and blind to it. We choose whether to be warriors or to be ordinary. A warrior knows that he is only a man. His only regret is that his life is so short that he can't grab onto all the things he would like to. But for him, this is not an issue. It's only a pity. Within these premises, the only thing one can be is an impeccable mediator. One is not the player in this cosmic match of chess. One is simply a pawn on the chessboard. What decides everything is a conscious, impersonal energy that sorcerers call intent, or the spirit. A warrior could not avoid pain and grief, but only the indulging in them. When a man has fulfilled all four of these requisites, to be wide awake, to have fear, respect, and absolute assurance, there are no mistakes for which he will have to account. Under such conditions, his actions lose the blundering quality of the acts of the fool. If such a man fails or suffers a defeat, he will only have lost a battle, and there will be no pitiful regrets over that. Dreaming is the vehicle that brings the dreamers to the world, the emissary said, and everything sorcerers know about dreaming was taught to them by us. Our world is connected to yours by a door called dreams. We know how to go through that door, but men don't. They have to learn it. For a sorcerer, reality, or the world as we all know it, is only a description. My benefactor said that when a man embarks on the paths of sorcery, he becomes aware, in a gradual manner, that ordinary life has been forever left behind. That knowledge is indeed a frightening affair, that the means of the ordinary world are no longer a buffer to him, and that he must adopt a new way of life if he is going to survive. The first thing he ought to do at that point is to want to become a warrior. Whenever the internal dialogue stops, the world collapses, and extraordinary facets of ourselves surface, as though they had been kept heavily guarded by our words. To achieve the mood of the warrior is not a simple matter, it is a revolution. To regard the lion and the water rats and our fellow men as equals is a magnificent act of a warrior's spirit. It takes power to do that. If a warrior needs solace, he simply chooses anyone and expresses to that person every detail of his turmoil. After all, the warrior is not seeking to be understood or helped. By talking, he's merely relieving himself of his pressure. I'm afraid you will have to fly holding the rock with its heavy chain. Our senses perceive the way we do. Our senses perceive the way they do because a specific feature of our awareness forces them to do so, because we learn what to perceive. The daily world exists because we know how to hold its images. Consequently, if one drops the attention needed to maintain these images, the world collapses. For me, the world is weird because it is stupendous, awesome, mysterious, unfathomable. My interest has been to convince you that you must assume responsibility for being here, in this marvelous world, in this marvelous desert, in this marvelous time. I want to convince you that you must learn to make every act count, since you are going to be here for only a short while, in fact, too short for witnessing all the marvels of it all.